Did you have any idea how far the president was going to go that day?
Absolutely none. I mean, when he began speaking, and you know, you had to keep pinching yourself. You say, what a wonderful dream I'm having. Somebody's going to wake me up and say, it was a lovely dream. And it wasn't. I mean, there was this man, and he has to be given all the credit that you can imagine. He showed incredible courage.
Was he taking a risk, Mr. de Klerk?
Oh, absolutely. There was no guarantee he would have been able to bring his people along. A lot of Afrikaners think he sold the past, and they find it very difficult to forgive him for what they think was the mother and father of all treachery.
We came a long way to take over. Do you understand that? Do you understand that?
And then finally, the long walk to freedom for the world's most famous prisoner.
Step by step, here comes the day we will all pray for. Oh, yes.
At the age of 71, after spending more than half his adult life in prison. But for Nelson Mandela, there was no prospect of rest and retirement.
Let us walk long.
His largest tasks still lay ahead. To negotiate with Mr. de Klerk the freeing of an entire nation from the shackles of white domination.
Long way, long walk.
And Nelson Mandela also set himself an even bigger goal: to lead by example and make the watchword for a new South Africa forgiveness.
Long way of God, long way together, long walk to freedom.
At the prison to greet him, thousands of South Africans, black and white, pinning their hopes on a hero. So who were the closest witnesses of all to this moment of history changing a nation forever? Winnie Mandela, of course, by Mr. Mandela's side. But what about the man on the right of the picture? 20 years on, I have just met him, quite by chance, and heard the remarkable story of Ntozalizwe Talakumene, Ntoza for short. The man who was Nelson Mandela's driver and ANC bodyguard on that extraordinary first day of his freedom.
To be next to the old man, the leader, to me, it was a great day, that is to be the security and the driver of Nelson Mandela. There was a lot of crowd. Everybody was eager and willing, that is to see Mandela first.
And in Cape Town, huge crowds waiting in the exhausting summer sun all day for Mr. Mandela's first words to the world at a rally were growing restless. Most stayed calm and quiet, but at the edges of the crowd, clashes were developing with riot police. We saw groups of youths looting shops, police firing shotguns, marshals from the Mandela Release Committee trying to intervene. With the rally degenerating into chaos and violence at the fringes of the crowd, this is hardly the atmosphere of calm and dignity which both Nelson Mandela and President de Klerk want to herald the new South Africa.
We arrived there in the city wall, but due to the crowd of the people, we couldn't take him out of the car.
Just too dangerous?
It was too dangerous for him, and then we decided that is to run away to Bishop's Court.
The crowds were just beyond anything that we had ever seen. And it did seem as if the person they were waiting for wasn't coming. And the mood of the people was getting a little tense. I mean, it really got ugly. And then I got a call. They were worried about security and said they thought he would not appear, but fly to Johannesburg. I said, not on your life. If that happens, these people are going to tear Cape Town apart. He must appear here. Whatever else you do, he's got to get here. If he doesn't, I don't know what's going to happen to this city.
We decided that is to use the back door of the city wall, so that people, they saw Mandela up the stairs when he was just greeting them.
So you smuggled him into the building?
We smuggled him at the back.
And he came out onto the balcony. Were you with him then?
And I was just standing behind, but you can't see me because I was shorter than the other people.
Eventually, almost 4 hours after he was expected, Nelson Mandela did appear before the crowds outside the City Hall, with his first direct message in 27 years to South Africa and the world.
Amandla! Amandla! I-Afrika! Hallelujah! Friends, comrades, and fellow South Africans, I greet you all in the name of peace, democracy, and freedom for all. Amandla!
We have to be lifted.
20 years on, democracy and freedom have been won. I've come out of the city centre to Nyanga, one of Cape Town's oldest black townships, where some of the poorest people, many of them unemployed, live. They still fear crime, but they don't fear the state.
I mean, when I was a youngster, actually, it was just bushes here.
Just
there
bushes?
were no houses, yes.
Right.
Yeah, there were just bushes.
It's here that I meet by chance a man who, like me, was in the square to see Nelson Mandela for himself. Zongs Liwane was just 21 then. He needed to be sure that Mandela really was free.
We never believed anything that they could say because we were just actually disappointed right through.
And did you know for sure when Nelson Mandela appeared on that balcony, did you know for sure
It's him.
that that it's him, but you were sure it was him?
Yeah, I was sure it was him, yeah.
And did you know for sure that South Africa would change completely, or did you think maybe the white government was still lying to you, that they'd let him free but you wouldn't get the vote, you wouldn't have freedom yourself?
The way actually he was so sure, or how could I put it, aggressive about changing this South Africa, I knew that he would actually come out and make a difference because he was not actually begging anybody about it. He demanded to be out of prison and be able to change South Africa for the better.
And Zongs himself has done well over the past 20 years. The new township supermarket is thriving, and it's his.
Standing in my own 3,900 square site of my shop.
This big shop?
Yeah.
It's all yours?
It's mine. And
Could that ever have happened under apartheid?
that was something that was way far from us getting into then. That's what I think. Actually, it's not as easy as we expected because we thought everything will just turn around for the better.
You thought Nelson Mandela's free, the whole world will change.
That is correct, and it did not happen that way. We know that now we've been educated and thought that it's a process that actually has to go through the whole government, changing everything, making sure that people are getting their basic needs, which I think they have.